Hello everyone, this is Nitpicking Nerd and I just watched episode 8 of season 2 of The Mandalorian, which is also the season final. And I wish I knew it's the last episode before I watched it. I should have recorded my live reaction to this episode because a lot of epic stuff happened. And this will be a spoiler review, so if you didn't see the episode, maybe you should watch it first. Because there are some surprising moments, especially in the end. It's actually something I predicted back when I reviewed episode 6. I said what my hopes are for the ending, what will be the best possible thing to happen on the show, and it is indeed what happens. And I was really worried that it's not going to happen. Like, even when all of that started happening, I was kind of skeptical. I was thinking, I was really worried I'm going to get disappointed, and maybe it will be some character from one of the cartoons, and one of those less interesting ones, and not the epic, most interesting character that should show up. And then when it became obvious it is indeed him, because we can see it by the cloak, the lightsaber, the gloved hand, and so it was obvious it's going to be him, but then I was wondering, will it be a CGI version, will it be another actor, or what? And so I was really worried that it's not going to be satisfying. And you know, I always watch this show right after I watch Star Trek Discovery, which constantly disappoints me, and in the previous episode they teased us of bringing back a character who was my favorite character from season 1 of Discovery, namely Captain Lorca. They mentioned his name like 50 times in the last 2 episodes, and then he never shows up, which was extremely disappointing. So that show never misses an opportunity to miss an opportunity, and yet this show is doing the opposite. This is giving the fans exactly what they want to see, and it's epic. It's really satisfying, and it even, I would say, it almost redeems what they did in the sequel trilogy, the way they humiliated the hero of the original trilogy, and the way they misused him, and the way they totally missed the mark, and they did it in a stupid way that is just a giant wasted opportunity. And so they redeem it here a little bit, because you guessed it, Luke Skywalker shows up in the end. He's the Jedi that Grogu contacted, and I predicted it. I said that's my hope, that would be the best possible way to end the season, and so it did happen, and it was great. It wasn't perfect because the CGI of the young Mark Hamill looked a little bit off, a little bit uncanny valley and all of that, but you know, maybe it can be improved later. We can improve it later on with all the deepfake technology, so we can fix it. Also, the music wasn't really good enough in that scene when he shows up. I thought should have been different. They should have used some of the older Star Wars themes which are directly associated with Luke Skywalker, but it would have improved the scene, but maybe it would have ruined the surprise, because they were kind of teasing us with his return, because they didn't show him right away. At first only the starfighter arrives, then we see a hooded figure walking in the corridors, then we see the green lightsaber, then we see he has a gloved hand. Only one hand is gloved and his face is not visible. And I like the fact that he's fighting without removing the hood, because it actually fits the Jedi capability. Because, you know, even in the original movie, Obi-Wan was training him to fight with a lightsaber without using his eyes at all, with covering his face and using the lightsaber by using the Force, and so his eyes are not really necessary, and so him fighting with the hood on actually makes sense, and so I don't mind that. And they basically kind of waited with the reveal a little bit, and it built some tension, and I personally was worried that it's not going to be him in the end, or that it's going to be a different actor or something. And so in the final shot when they open the doors and it's really the young Mark Hamill, I was really happy, and I'm sure it will make a lot of fans really happy, especially after the crap they did in the sequel trilogy, in which they crapped all over Luke Skywalker, and here they finally made him into the hero that we all wanted to see for so long, and him being a badass and dispatching all those dark troopers, which before that in this episode they set them up as being so dangerous that you can barely defeat even one of them, and then Luke Skywalker cuts them like butter and even crushes one of them with the Force. And so all of that was perfect. All the action scenes in this episode I thought were great, and the minor flaw is again the music, which I thought could have been done a little bit more epic and emotional, and also his face looks a little bit fake, but I guess we can fix all of these things later on in fan edits, and so it's no problem. It's still a great thing they did, and the very ending of this whole storyline of him taking Grogu to train him is great, even though it now begs the question, what exactly happened next? Because as we saw in The Last Jedi, Luke's students were all either killed or captured by Kylo Ren, and so what the hell happened with Grogu? If he was still there in his new academy, was he killed by Kylo? Maybe that can explain why Luke was so depressed. You know, if we know that Baby Yoda, Grogu was actually there and died, that would make anyone depressed, and so that can actually maybe even justify what we saw in The Last Jedi. Maybe it would break Luke. break his heart so much seeing the dead baby Yoda. Maybe I'll do some fan edits of that just for a laugh. So I'm sure he will not die in the end. I'm sure there will be, if not in this show, there will be novelizations and computer games and all of that. And I'm sure baby Yoda slash Grogu survives. And I love the fact that Luke Skywalker will now have some meaning after episode 6, because if not for this, if we only saw the sequel movies in which he was a loser who hid away and didn't do anything and didn't even train Rey except for 1-2 lessons he gave her, just talking to her for 2 minutes, and that was it. And so he was so pathetic, he didn't contribute anything to the galaxy in those movies. And yet here we find out he actually trained Jedi who will maybe become very important later on. If Grogu presumably survives, I don't believe they will ever kill him, and so it will make Luke a much more important stepping stone and the savior of the galaxy and all of that. And so that will redeem his character after what they showed us in The Last Jedi. And so this is why I'm very happy about this. And maybe we'll see him again. Maybe they'll show him again in later seasons of the show. I hope so. So I loved it. I love this ending. But I kind of jumped ahead in this review and talked about the ending right away, so let me now go back and talk about the rest of the episode. I said in my previous review that it was kind of stupid for Mando to send a warning to Moff Gideon about him coming to save the kid. I thought that even though it's kind of a funny and epic scene, it's kind of stupid in a tactical sense. Why would you give him an advanced warning that you're coming? Why not use the element of surprise? And so this episode made it seem even stupider. Because what if he simply didn't open the door into the ship? What then if he simply shot that shuttle? They would all be dead and that's it. And so it was a stupid plan, especially because of the warning he gave him in the previous episode. Now, if it was part of the plan, if it was somehow meant to draw them out or to give him a false sense of security, maybe if he did shoot at that shuttle and it exploded, and then it would be revealed that it was all a trick and they actually sneaked on the ship in some other way after he lowers his defenses, and so they should have done it in a more clever way. Otherwise, his warning to him in the previous episode is kind of stupid, even though I guess it's supposed to be kind of like a Rambo scene. You know how in Rambo 2 he called the bad guy by radio and told him that he's coming for him and all of that, but you know, that guy wasn't the big villain of the movie, and so he was just kind of a minor villain who wasn't protected, and so it wasn't stupid to warn him. But here it was kind of stupid. And other things that annoyed me is that they never showed what happened to that doctor, the one who made experiments on Grogu. Other small things I disliked was all kinds of loose ends. For example, what happened with that doctor, the one who did the experiments on Grogu? He was with them on the shuttle, and then he just disappears from the episode. So did they tie him up on the shuttle or what? And so he never explains anything. And you know, he was kind of an interesting character because he seemed to be having second thoughts. He had some morality issues. He didn't want to kill the kid even back in season 1 when they showed him. So he wasn't a pure evil guy. So I think it would have been more interesting to do something with him, and yet he just disappears from the episode. Also, we never see what happened to that evil female officer on Gideon's ship. She also just disappears for no explanation. Maybe she got shot and I didn't notice, but it would have been better to show her actually doing something or saying something. I did like those dark droids this time. I was complaining about them back in episode 6 because they didn't do anything. They only flew like Iron Man. They landed and flew back and didn't have any action scenes. But here we finally have some really cool action scenes. One of them fights against Mando, and Mando just barely manages to defeat them, and then he launches the other ones into space. But then, of course, later they come back, and that I was really happy to see that, because when he just ejected them into space, I was really annoyed by that. I thought all that setup of them has been so scary and all of that, and then you just get rid of them and that's it. And so I was really annoyed, but then they come back and I was happy. And then that final battle with Luke Skywalker, that was great. Definitely the best scene of the episode. And in general, all the battle scenes, all the fight scenes, all the duels in this episode were great. Some of the best ones in all of Star Wars. And what annoyed me a little bit when the Dark Troopers were attacking them again, and they all were holding their blasters even though they know it wouldn't really affect them, and yet Mando is not even thinking about using the Dark Saber against them. So that annoyed me a little bit, because you know, you have the Dark Saber which can cut through anything. I mean, Luke did manage to cut them up with a lightsaber, and so the Dark Saber should also work against them. So why is Mando not doing that? At least show him fighting one of them with the Dark Saber would have been a nice touch as well, but they gave all the glory to Luke Skywalker. But I guess I'm fine with that, especially because of all the stuff I said about the sequels and what they did with him. So here they kind of redeemed that by showing Luke Skywalker to be an awesome hero and so powerful and all of that. So I'm fine with that, even though it kind of steals the show from these characters. And if someone who watches the show never watched the old movies, maybe it will annoy him a little bit, because who the hell is this guy who shows up and takes Grogu? If you're not familiar with the old Star Wars, then it might be a little bit annoying, I guess. And then he just takes Grogu with him, and we have a goodbye scene between Grogu and Mando, who removes his helmet, and we see him kind of teary-eyed and all of that, so that was great. And we also have a post-credit scenes in which we see that Boba Fett returns to Jabba's palace, which is now ruled by that guy with the tentacles on his head, who looks like he gained a lot of weight since the Return of the Jedi. And Boba kills him and sits in his place, and so I'm wondering what the hell is all of this about. Is there going to be a spin-off show about Boba Fett? Or will it just be part of Season 3? I guess we'll wait and see. So that's my review of Season 2 of The Mandalorian. Let me know what you think and we can discuss it in the comment section below. If you enjoy my videos, please hit the like button, please subscribe. Click the notification bell if you want to see updates of new videos. Check out all the links to my other channels in the description below, and I will see you all next time. Bye bye.